If you're thinking about planting hydrangeas, late summer into early fall is the time to do it. Today is part 1, the 2 hydrangeas for sun. The shade and beginner-friendly pairings are in a separate video, so subscribe if you want both. I'll show you 2 designer hydrangea pairings for a sunny spot, each one matched with a companion plant that makes it shine. The legendary Limelight tree and the compact Little Lime. For each pairing, you'll learn why these 2 plants work together, how to plant them, and the simple care routine that keeps both looking great. This is the pair people stop and stare at. Plant 1, Panicle Hydrangea, Limelight, tree form. Limelight is one of the most widely planted panicle hydrangeas, and one of the most reliable. It's also the one nurseries train into a tree, a single trunk with a rounded crown lifted off the ground. At maturity, it reaches 6 to 8 feet tall with a crown 4 to 5 feet across. Look for it as a Limelight hydrangea tree, or Limelight standard. It arrives already trained, usually 3 to 4 feet tall, and grows about 1 to 2 feet a year. It blooms from July through September. The creamy white cones open first, turn lime as summer warms, then take on soft pink and burgundy tones in fall, and they remain on the plant into winter, dried cones standing in the snow. Limelight is generally low maintenance with few serious pest or disease problems. Here's what it needs. Zones 3 through 8, light full sun to part shade. In zones 4 through 6, give it full sun, 6 hours or more. In zones 7 and 8, choose morning sun with afternoon shade. Otherwise, the blooms may scorch brown instead of turning pink. Water, medium. Water deeply during dry periods, then allow the top couple of inches of soil to dry slightly before watering again. Not sure? Push a finger about 2 inches into the soil. If it feels dry at that depth, it's time to water. Soil. Almost any decent, well-drained soil. Dig the planting hole twice as wide as the root ball, but only as deep as the root ball itself. Keep the root flare at soil level. Planting too deeply is one of the most common mistakes. Backfill the hole, gently firm the soil, water thoroughly, and add mulch. Pruning. Prune in fall or early spring before new growth begins. Remove dead or damaged wood whenever you notice it. Feeding. Apply a balanced, slow-release fertilizer in spring, not at planting. In August, the goal is to grow strong roots, not soft new leaves. And here's why the tree form matters. It opens the ground underneath. A shrub fills that space with branches. A standard leaves it open, and that's exactly where the second plant goes. Plant number 2, Japanese Anemone. Robustissima. Robustissima is arguably the toughest Japanese anemone you can grow. It features delicate, soft pink flowers on wiry 3 to 4 foot stems. While it looks fragile, it's actually incredibly resilient, handling sun better and asking for much less fuss than its relatives. Best of all, it blooms from late summer into fall, providing color when most of your garden has already finished for the season. Hardiness, zones 4 through 8. Light, prefers partial shade but thrives in full sun if watered regularly and mulched well. Water, needs consistent moisture, especially in its first year. Once established, it's more drought tolerant than other Japanese anemones, though the more sun it gets, the more water it wants. Soil, rich, loose, and well-drained. Care, remove spent flowers to encourage blooms. Pro tip, it spreads via underground runners. In a large bed, that's a bonus. In a small space, just pull any stray shoots each spring to keep it in check. Caring for the pair. The hydrangea and the anemone share a simple routine. During dry spells, water deeply at the base. Focus your watering on the hydrangea. It's the thirstier of the 2. The anemone will get exactly what it needs from that same watering. A 2-inch layer of mulch is all you need to keep the soil happy. Once a year in spring, do a 10-minute cleanup. Prune the hydrangea. Clear away old anemone stems. Feed both plants. And trim back any anemone runners to keep your design tight. The planting strategy. Place the anemones about 18 to 30 inches from the hydrangea trunk. Never plant directly against it. The hydrangea will win the battle for water every time. Don't aim for perfect, even spacing. A slightly irregular layout looks designed, not planted, and resists the urge to fill every gap. As these plants mature, the space will fill in naturally. The result? A professional 3-layered display. Lime green cones that mature to creamy white and blush pink by fall, a pink cloud beneath, and dark foliage at the base. 1 tree-form hydrangea, 1 perennial. Premium impact from July through October. The second duo uses a trick most gardeners never think of, planting straight through a shrub. Plant number 1, panicle hydrangea, little lime. This is the compact version of Limelight. It grows 3 to 5 feet tall and wide, half the size with the same impressive flowers. Lime green flower cones open in summer on strong stems. Then, as the season progresses, they blush pink and deepen to a rosy red through fall. And like every panicle hydrangea, little lime blooms on new wood. That means it flowers every single year, even after a brutal winter. In fact, it is one of the most winter-hardy hydrangeas you can grow. Here is what it needs. Hardiness zones 3 through 8. Light, full sun to partial shade. Give it full sun in northern climates and afternoon shade in the south. Water, medium. Water deeply during dry spells, then allow the top few inches of soil to dry before watering again. Soil, rich and well-drained. Keep the root flare level with the surface of the soil. Pruning. Give it a quick trim in late winter or early spring. Because it blooms on new wood, this encourages strong new growth and plenty of flowers. Feeding. Apply a balanced, slow-release fertilizer in spring. Plant number 2, Lily FRISO, also sold as Silk Road. Before planting it, there is one important thing to know. Lilies are extremely toxic to cats. Even the pollen or the water from a vase containing lilies can cause fatal kidney failure. They are not considered dangerous to dogs, but if you have a cat, keep this risk in mind before planting. The flowers can reach 8 inches across. Each bloom has a deep raspberry red heart that melts into broad white edges. The fragrance is strong and rich with notes of raspberries and roses. The plants grow 4 to 6 feet tall on thick, sturdy stems that usually do not need staking. They bloom in July and August, exactly when the hydrangea is reaching its peak. Secondary buds continue opening after the first flowers, extending the display to nearly a full month. Here is what it needs. Hardiness zones 5 through 8. Light, full sun, although it can tolerate a little afternoon shade. Water, medium. The one thing this lily will not forgive is wet soil. Good drainage is essential because a bulb sitting in water will quickly rot. Soil, fertile, slightly acidic, and well-drained. Planting. Plant the bulbs in fall, usually in September or October, after the soil begins to cool. The roots develop best when the soil temperature falls below 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Plant each bulb at a depth equal to 2 or 3 times the height of the bulb. For care, remove the faded flowers, but never cut down the foliage while it is still green. The leaves are collecting energy and feeding next year's bulb. Cut the stems and leaves only after they have completely yellowed. So, why do these two plants work together? A lily grows from a bulb on a tall, narrow stem, with almost no foliage at its base. It does not compete with the hydrangea for ground space. It simply grows upward and passes through the shrub's branches. A wide, leafy perennial could never do that. Here is how to plant them. Plant the hydrangea first, in late summer or early fall. Plant the lily bulbs in September or October. Order the bulbs ahead of time and plant them as soon as they arrive and the soil has cooled. Position the bulbs between and slightly behind the hydrangea, never directly in front of it. Place them 8 to 12 inches from the crown of the shrub. As the lilies grow, their stems will rise naturally through the hydrangea branches. Plant the bulbs in groups of 3, rather than arranging them in a straight row. Caring for this pair is simple. Both plants want the same basic conditions: sun, rich soil, and excellent drainage. One location, one routine. But there is one rule that helps keep both plants healthy. Water the ground, never the leaves. Constantly wet foliage can encourage fungal diseases on both hydrangeas and lilies. In spring, prune the hydrangea, feed both plants, and add a fresh layer of mulch. That is all they need. Together, they provide flowers from July into September, plus a fragrance that fills the entire garden bed. 2 sun-loving hydrangeas, 2 companions, 2 beautiful pairings. Which one are you planting? Tell me in the comments. In part 2, the hydrangeas for shade and for small gardens. Subscribe so you don't miss it.